What actually makes a brand work? Is it the visuals, the messaging, or is it something deeper? Today, I'm sitting down with Drewe Smith and Kate Supa to talk about what it really looks like to build a brand with intention from the very beginning. Not just what looks good on the surface, but what actually connects, converts, and lasts. We are also getting into a really interesting shift they're making, moving away from only posting on traditional social media and focusing more on platforms like Pinterest and Substack. The ones people don't talk about as much, but they are actually driving more meaningful engagement and sales. If you've been questioning what's actually worth your time when it comes to growing your brand, this conversation is a good place to start. Let's get into it.
You're listening to Business from Scratch, the podcast for people building businesses they love without losing themselves along the way. I'm your host, Abbye McGee. Let's get started.
What I love about you is that you're not just like a branding agency that will make a set of logos and, brand guide, but you really work with your clients to develop what a brand really should be, which is not just a logo and what your color scheme is, right? But it's what you're presenting to the world. And I love that so much. So I want to talk a lot about what that means in theory and in practice, right? Because a brand isn't just what you see in an ad.
Right.
So talk to me about that. Like, what is your theory on what a brand is or should be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when we think about brands, we think about like the business and the person behind the business, right? So it's like, who are you? What do you want to represent? What do you love? What do you hate? Like, we really do a deep dive into the person and the brand itself. And so we start there. And so we really do take a holistic approach. We're thinking through, yes, your logo and your brand guides and your colors, but also what does your packaging look like? What is your client experience going to be? All of that kind of stuff.
100%, because we always want to know where you're going. So I think that's one of the most important questions we ask. We're like, we know where you are right now, but where are you seeing this in a few years? Because we want people to be set up with the tools to be able to expand it. And I think we really like to think of brands as people. So it's not just like, oh, I'm starting this thing. It's okay, well, if your brand was a person, who would it be and where do they hang out? And making sure that like their colors match the season of their brand. And that like if they're thinking about their brand colors, they're also thinking about how that's going to translate into a photo shoot and how those photos are going to live on a website when that color is going to be more saturated. So we like all those pieces to kind of touch each other so that they don't feel disjointed.
Yeah. So are you talking your clients through what that means just visually? Or is that a holistic conversation that's like, okay, your visuals are this, but how you talk to your client base is this, and it all goes together?
100%. We're talking to them about
Yeah.
their messaging and like who they are and how they show up and like
Mhm,
what person are you speaking in and is it you or is your brand something else? So like
mhm.
making sure like we know those things because we do a lot of work with personal brands, but we're also working with people who like their brand is not themselves and they don't want to be on camera.
Mhm.
So it's like doing different approaches that fits where you are in your business. Like I think that's the holistic thing. Like we don't treat all brands like the same thing because every business is so different and
Mhm.
what you need is so different.
Yeah. Are you trying to get all of your clients to be more present visually? Like if they don't want to be, you don't try and force that?
I don't try. No, definitely not.
If it doesn't feel organic to them,
Yeah.
it's not ever going to work.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we always talk about what is manageable and maintainable for you,
Mhm.
whether it's social media posting, showing up on your website, however you want to show up, like how is it best going to work for you? Because
Mhm.
if you hate being on camera, you are not going to be able to sustain that.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Not everyone has to be.
Do you find that the success rate of businesses are about this, similar if you choose to not be on camera or you choose to be on camera? Are you seeing a big difference in the success rate of those businesses?
It depends how they measure success.
Uh-huh.
So it's like if their measure of success is to be known, it's like you're going to have to be on camera.
Uh-huh.
But if your measure of success is maybe sales or
Product based. I mean, it's a
that's
lot
like,
different.
yeah, that's not
Mhm.
necessarily like, oh, here I am wearing the clothes. It's like, oh, models wear these clothes.
Yeah.
Or this is sold in this store and it needs to be styled this way. And like maybe like you're looking at more interior designers and then if that's the thing, it's like you could always get other people to be talking about your brand. So there's a way to do this video thing without it being you on camera if you want to. It really just depends.
Yeah.
And it's like for the nature of our brand, our name is our names, right? It's Drewe and Kate. So us showing up is an important factor.
Yeah.
But if you have a business that you do have a lot of employees that are doing kind of the same job that you're doing, there is a way to not have to be at the forefront of that.
And we try to
Yeah.
help them through that.
I try to do a balance of that. So I'm on there a lot, but also like I don't, one day when I'm too old to be running a business, I am not there all the time. And what does that mean for the business? So I've tried to be very intentional about like highlighting my entire staff, because that's really who's making your food. It's not me.
Right.
I'm not in the kitchen anymore making the food. So I want people to know who is producing the product that you're buying. So, but I have found that in my business, like that personal connection, even if it's not with me, but like with the team who's serving has been so important.
Oh, yeah. Like for us and like the way we like to do business, we started our business friends first and then moved into it. And it's like, we always knew we wanted to be community based. We want that touch point of talking to other people. We want you to feel like you can come up and say hi to us and like you know us. But not everyone wants that. It's a thing we love. It's like we're very community focused. So that's a thing that we always knew we wanted to be in front of the camera.
And a lot of people are like, love the people part of it, just not on the internet, right? So it's like if you walk into their coffee shop or their business or their restaurant, they love talking to their clients and their employees, and they love being so involved in that way. They just don't want to be on the internet like that. It makes them uncomfortable.
I think most people these days don't want to be on the internet, but we're there.
Yeah,
Because
we're
we feel like
there.
we have to be.
In some capacity.
Yeah. Are you seeing any shifts in how people are getting their product and themselves out there other than social media, or do you feel like that's still it?
I do feel like that's it right now.
I mean, I think it's free marketing really for yourself. And I do think we're in this space where you have to be able to put yourself or your product out there in some capacity, and social media is the best way to get in front of all of the eyes. Yeah, it really is.
I will say the only big shift I'm seeing is the shift to Substack, which I think we would still consider a social media situation. But I do see it as a way that people are taking back how they're speaking to people and how they're sharing their thoughts. Like before you would do a blog, but now people are using Substack as a full community base, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about that? I mean, I have a Substack and I'm very like sporadic about it. But I do love it. So are you finding that people are using that as a way to communicate, or is it a revenue stream for them? Is it both?
It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can do paid on Substack.
Yeah.
So people can pay to hear your expanded thoughts on anything. But I think the thing that it does is it takes the pressure off the selfie. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, oh, you're actually getting inside of my brain and I'm typing to this to you in a way that feels interactive like traditional social media. I can repost, I can share this, and I can do it in all of this space instead of like a blog that's attached to your website. We do both. Like I will believe in a blog and forever, but like the Substack gives you this like community aspect with outside of your typical reach.
Yeah. And I think it does what Instagram used to do, where it feels vulnerable and easy and just like no one was like posing for it. When you first started Instagram, it was just like, let me share my life with this like color filter. And Substack does that thing where it just feels a little more raw and vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm writing about press tours in there. I'm writing about Oscar
Drewe
outfits
does
in
the
there.
Lord's work on our
that.
I'm
Substack.
just writing whatever comes to my mind on our Substack, pretty unfiltered.
And is your Substack linked to your business site?
Yeah, it's called Notes from Studio, and it's just like what's inspiring us. So it's kind of a way for people to get to know us outside of what you think Drewe and Kate is. So it's like, oh, you want to know like actually like in real time what we're absorbing, like what runway shows we're watching, what's going on. It's like that's definitely happening on our Substack. And it's just kind of like, honestly, we started as a way to take back the fun, like to feel like, you know, we're not set to a schedule on it. It's just like, hey, if something comes up and I think it's cool, like I'm going to write about it.
Yeah.
And like that probably doesn't have a place on Drewe and Kate's Instagram, which is more professional leaning or something like that. But it does give our clients or like just our friends like a better way to like get in touch with us. Like I have best friends that read it and like will email me about it.
Love
And I'm
that.
like, oh, like this is what I want in a social media.
It's a glimpse behind the scenes, too, right? It's like we do all of these wonderful, beautiful photo shoots and brands, and it's kind of like, hey, here was our inspiration behind it, and here's like what went into it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that blogs that are attached to or like included on a business website, what I have found is that they aren't really meant to be read. They're there for like SEO.
Yeah.
They're kind of hidden, not prominent. You have to have it to get yourself where you need to be, like in search engines. But they're not really utilized for what you're talking about, which I used to be. I mean, blogs.
I used to read your blog.
Oh, the old Noshroom blog.
100% I
Oh
did.
my gosh, that's
yeah, I love
funny.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
we had
I
this
used
like chocolate sauce recipe on there.
Yeah, that
Um,
was Lindsay's. That was the
um,
Lindsay Pruitt. Do you know Lindsay
She's
Pruitt?
my age. We grew up together.
Yeah.
So
That was her recipe.
I was like, following her on Instagram as we all
Uh-huh.
did. And that chocolate sauce recipe, I was like, oh, this is incredible. I think this was like, this was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. That's like the origin story of my business.
I
Was
love that
from a
blog.
blog.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of like blogs are still such a useful thing, but they've on business websites,
Yeah.
they've kind of like gotten weird and they're not meant to be read.
Yeah. And like, I think Substack brings that back where it's like, like your blog, yes, if you're not doing your keywords and you're not thinking about like how this is going to be Googled or searched, all of that is so important in the blog.
We use ours in a different way too, where we have like tutorials that we'll film that we'll send to clients. That are just like, hey, if
Right.
you need to know how to do this, like we already have a blog on it.
And then we
So-
link it to our Pinterest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we really do our blog
Yeah.
work. This is so detailed, but we really do our blog work so that we can pin it on Pinterest so that other people can find us through tutorials for like when they're using search engines that way,
Got it.
which is really kind of like how we're leveraging our
Pinterest
blog.
is too. Like Pinterest is definitely more of a search engine than social
Yeah.
media.
And
And we
we-
definitely utilize it like
We
that.
love
Yeah.
Pinterest.
Mhm.
Do you get client referrals through Pinterest? Or do you have clients that are remote?
Yes. We have clients
awesome.
all over. We just did one who found us just by searching bold pattern design into Pinterest. And they saw a pattern that we did and they loved it. And they reached out and they're like, hey, I'm opening a store in DC. I need tissue paper. I need bags. I need a brand. Like, can you do that for me? And we're like, yes, we would absolutely love
That's
to.
I think we like
Awesome.
screamed when we were like, hey, how did you find us? And she
Uh-huh.
said Pinterest. And we were like, oh my gosh,
I was
it's
like, I
working.
can't believe this is working.
Yes.
And it's like, we
Yes.
know it works. And still when
Yeah.
it happens, we're like, that's
Yeah.
an unbelievable.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Like not a client referral, not somebody we
Mhm.
knew. It was just kind of the first time we didn't know anyone that knew this
Yeah.
client. And we were like, yeah.
And they're always so aligned with the work we want to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because
Yeah.
they're looking for that specific
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
They're looking for things
Yeah.
like we love bold brand design. Like we love
Mhm.
designing a pattern. It's one of our favorite things that we do. And so when they reached out and were like, that's the thing we want, and they were referencing one of our favorite clients, we were like, oh, this is hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
That's
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
Most people don't think of Pinterest for that reason. Like they're
Oh,
just
yeah.
on their searching, and what I do.
Most people do.
And we
Yeah.
do that too, right? We're
Yeah.
on there searching, but like we
Yeah.
want to be the thing that comes up in the search.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like if I'm looking for something visual, I'm not typing that into Google. I'm typing it into Pinterest. If I'm looking
Mhm.
for inspiration or for travel or for something like that, that's my search engine for that. So I'm like, okay, well, we do a lot of photo work. We do a lot of like visual work. Like that's where we need to be focusing that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk more about Pinterest because
Yeah, girl, we love
I
Pinterest.
feel like I don't fully understand it other than using it as a search engine. And of course, we post on it things that direct people back to Salt and Charm, the website. I don't know that we're doing it the right way, but we do use it. But what's your process? So you talked about that little circle just a minute ago, like you're writing blogs for the purpose of putting on Pinterest that then point people back to so what's your process?
Yeah. I think when we started Pinterest, we probably did it the harder way where we were creating. We really did. Yeah. We were creating all of these posts, like perfectly
Mhm.
sized to Pinterest. We were scheduling them out 2 or 3 a day for months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of work. And then we got smarter because when you own a business, you truly just don't have the time to
Right.
do that all day. So now we link it to our scheduling software through our Instagram. So when it goes out on our Instagram, it also goes out on our Pinterest.
Okay.
And it's going to link back to exactly where we need it to be. So we link it back to somewhere on our website, whatever that page is going to be. And then we make sure that page always exists on our website so that it never goes to like a dead end link because that's the last
100%.
thing you want.
Right.
And then if there's like a design that we really love that we did, and maybe we don't share like the full scope of it on our Instagram or on our website, we will expand
Mhm.
it onto Pinterest and like let that flow through. And so that way, like, we're really attracting, like, if someone sees this, they want exactly what we do, and we want them to find us easily.
Yeah. And
And-
consistency is the best part of that, right? It's like
Right.
you could spend hours and hours perfecting a post, but if you're only posting once every month, it's just not going to do the thing you want it to do. Like you
Yeah.
really do need to be consistent on those platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best way we knew how to do that was to be able to link them,
Mhm.
to be able to all share together and then add to it if we need to.
And then we also did this thing that I am really proud of and that I love, where we made our forward-facing Pinterest a design resource for other people. So we love color tones in our business. We're constantly talking about color and the way it changes brands and businesses. So we have all of our boards on Pinterest. They're separated by what we want you to see. So it'll just be like the name of a color, and it'll like sort that through. Or it'll be like, hey, here's style inspo that we like right now. And so that way, if someone's just like quickly going on there to like see, like maybe pull something, it's like that. And it's not just like, home, here's all the stuff. Well, actually right now it is a lot of because I've taken over. But it's not just like, you know, snacks and then like a million recipes. Because like, why would you find a recipe on Drewe and Kate Branding
Right.
Co.'s professional Instagram?
Right.
But you might find like style stuff that we like in a home, or you might see colors that we're attracted to.
And then we'll take those posts that we've already done the work in finding and we'll create a mood board that you might see on our Instagram.
100%.
So that really there is that cohesion throughout all of our channels where it
Mhm.
all really feels the same and it feels like both of us, you
Yeah.
know, like we are definitely two separate
Mhm.
people, but like it really does feel like this really cool cohesive
Mhm.
integration of our style.
100%.
So y'all are focusing your efforts on your website, Instagram, and Pinterest, and then Substack.
For sure.
Those are the 4 things that you do. Love that. Love that. I need to get back in my Substack.
Here, I'll follow you.
Drew's doing
I'm
the
already
work
in there. I
on our
just haven't
Substack.
I think once I started this project, that kind of got put on the
Yeah,
side burner,
100%.
but, I love the thought of letting it be a support for your business.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we got into this space where it's like, I think brands should be professional and I think they should look great. But if you have like a human forward brand and you want people to know you, let them know you. Like blur that line between professional and personal.
Mhm.
Not so much like you're talking someone's ear off about something super inappropriate,
Mhm.
but like in a way that's just like, yeah, like you're allowed to know like a few things about me because I care about them
Mhm.
and I would love to talk about it.
Yeah.
Not overly curated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like you kind of have to do that now. You have to give a little bit of yourself personally to your business. So even if, I mean, I know there's people who would prefer not to be out there personally with their face everywhere. However, you do have to find a way to connect with your people somehow on a personal level these days. You almost can't get away from it.
For sure.
Not at all.
Yeah. I mean, people work with people.
Mhm.
You know, we're kind of really getting back to that.
Thank God.
Thank
know.
God.
Right? Like,
I
I
know.
think we're all craving that connection and figuring out a way to do that through social media, which is not connection at all. It's like fake connection.
Yeah.
So, like, trying to figure out how to not make it fake is like
Yeah.
it's so important.
100%.
So important. And so I've always been aware of that from the beginning, and I overshare a lot, and I'll show all kinds of stuff, but people will see me out in town and they're like, they think they know me, and that I'm happy about that. I'm happy that they feel like they know me, because people, if they trust you, they're going to use your service.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was at the coffee shop earlier today and someone was introduced to me and I was like, oh, hi, I'm Drewe. And she goes, oh, and Kate. And for a second, I was like, is that my last name? And I was like, no. I was like, oh, you're talking. And I was like, yeah, I'm Drewe and Kate. But I'm the other one. Yeah. But I was like, that was the first time that had happened where someone was like,
I
oh,
love
and
that.
Kate. And I was like, and Kate, but just me right now.
I'm there. Yeah. I think it is funny how it like does bleed into our like personal
Mm-hmm.
social media lives too, where I think we were at like my kid's sports game or softball game the other day and someone was like, oh yeah, and like this is Drewe. Like they knew who she was. Just I mean, they had never met her before.
yeah.
But
and
like
they were
probably
"This is
not
Drewe."
expecting me to
Of Drewe and
see me
Kate.
on a Saturday
Yeah.
at Kate's daughter's softball game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, like we're really friends.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Does that weird you out sometimes, or do you
No,
like it?
I love. We put ourselves
Yeah.
on the internet. It's
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean, your business is so personal. Like you
Yeah.
are selling yourself.
100%.
And if to be able to trust, like if I were trying to find an agency, like if I feel like I can trust you and I like you, first of all, because you're spending a lot of time together
Oh yeah.
doing what you guys do, and if you can't enjoy the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. And we're
And
both,
we love it. And
yeah.
we love working with people. We
Mhm.
love that like gritty part of business that is
Mhm.
so hard and personal. And like we get those like, you know, lonely days and the hard work and the late nights. And like we know how it feels.
Mhm.
And it can feel so isolating, especially if you're in it by yourself. And I think we love that part of
Mhm.
the process when people are like, I just feel so overwhelmed. And we're like, yeah, like, girl, we know. Like,
Yeah.
we
Been there.
fully have been there.
You
yeah.
are there probably all
Yeah.
the time still.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is the when somebody comes to you looking for help, what is the overarching like thing that you see in with everybody that is their biggest struggle or their biggest frustration about their brand or their voice or, you know, their process?
Maybe the like cohesion of it. They're not sure how to really put it all together. And they have all these like thoughts in their head and they just don't know how to execute, which is why they're coming to us.
Or like thinking that something needs to be absolutely perfect before you put it out in the world
Yeah.
would be the other one.
Mm.
Like they get so paralyzed by how many ways it could go that like they just like can't do it. So like I feel like they're just like, hey, I have all of these ideas, the cohesion part. Yeah, same thing. Like the cohesion thing. And then they're like, but how do I funnel this all together into one thing to like package and get out into the world?
Yeah.
And so it's like I think they're all just overwhelmed
Yeah.
with like all the ideas that they have and they need someone to tell them no.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
yes, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have
So
to be like,
true.
I need
yeah.
somebody to tell me no.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a common issue with entrepreneurial minded people.
Oh, I
is
love telling
that,
someone no.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she's really good at it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because people who love business and love creating things, we are always going to have 50 ideas that we think are the best idea.
100%.
And we need to do all of them. But then they don't work and, you know, they don't work together. So,
And sometimes it's like a pacing thing where it's like, hey, yeah, like those 50 ideas are great, but that is 5 years worth of plans. And like to be able to do one of those things, you have to do about 10 other things right here. And let's start there and get you there. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
like the idea of it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like a no, not yet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it's a, well, let's think about it this way.
And when they can see it mapped out, I think it is helpful because when it's your own, it is so hard to see it from the outside. And so I think it is when we come in, we're just like, okay, like we're going to help you map this out. We're going to look at it from your client's perspective. Like, here's what's going to work. Here's what's definitely not going to work. And I think people really feel a little more resolved once they are in that process and they're like, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
And we also have new eyes on it where it's like, we pretend to be your client.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, is this, I understand it because I've read your brief. But if I didn't know that, is this clear? Like, do I get it? Like, in a real way, do I understand who you are and what you do just by looking at this? And like, that's really what we're going for.
And we have each other to bounce it off of too, which I think is so helpful where Drewe might be like deep in a project and then she's just like, okay, it's like, I need you to look at it with fresh eyes or vice versa. So we really can like hone in on the thing that we really think it's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we get so in the weeds with just like the day to day and the handling of the actual business. And it's hard to see 10 steps ahead. I mean, I feel like I'm good at that. And yet I'm also terrible at it, you know, because you're just every day you're like, let me pay the bills. Let me make sure I have enough staff. Let me work on the schedule. Let me call this client. And you can't think 5 years in the future and then work backwards. Although we all know we should, right? We know that that's the best way to do it. Like you have an end goal in mind. I want to sell this many of this thing within 5 years. So how do I do that? And it's not just about producing the thing. It's about the message, the awareness of your client base and how you're communicating it. And
Yeah.
It's a
The
lot.
business part of business is, it's hard.
it's
Yeah.
hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's hard. So how do you coach somebody through a no?
Nicely, because it's like, a no doesn't mean you had a bad idea. A no
Mhm.
means like, are you thinking about your capacity? Are you thinking about what this really means? Like, do you have the money to do it? And like all of those things go into a no. Do you know what I mean? So I think
Y'all are business coaches. Y'all aren't just a branding.
I know
agent.
we
Y'all
really are.
Yeah.
You know, I have a psych degree, and so I'm constantly like thinking about how they feel about it too, because
Mhm.
it's like, I think coaching someone through a no is really hard, but it's also like treating people like they're our friends and like knowing that we'll get to know them well enough to know like when it is a no.
Mhm.
And it would be a disservice if we told them yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
I
know?
think learning that in our business, I think actually has been a really big lesson. Like we used to be like, yeah, we can do that. But now we'll be like, hey, yes, we could do that, but we don't think it's the best thing for your business. And here's why. if we want to come to like a middle ground here, or if you're really feeling strongly about it, we can keep talking about it until like we all feel good about it. But I think like the biggest disservice you can do for someone else's business is tell them yes all the time.
Yeah.
Because like that's not like someone you're partnering with. That's just like a yes person who's like taking your money, really.
Mhm.
Where it's like, no, it's like sometimes things don't work or they shouldn't work because you have
Mhm.
something else better coming up and like
Yeah.
you're just not looking at it.
And we're doing so much more than delivering a logo. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
so much more than that. We're really thinking through every part of the business. So when we're telling you no nicely, there's a good reason behind it. And
Mhm.
it's really likely that we've also seen it not work before. And we know
Mhm.
why it's not going to work.
I feel like that's so different than other branding agencies. I mean, I haven't talked to a ton of them, but the ones that I have like reached out for info. I need this like piece of packaging designed, and like there's no conversation except like, what do you want the box to look like?
Right.
So I don't know. Is the way you guys approach your business vastly different from most branding agencies?
I think so. I think like, and we are thinking about packaging a lot. Like we
Mhm.
typically in our initial brand process, if you have any kind of good, we're doing a mock up of what the packaging should look like later and the tissue paper and all of that. But I think, yeah, I think we really are thinking about it more holistically. And I
Mhm.
think it's because we started doing brand photography and then expanded into brand design and website design. But the reason I think we think about it differently is because we started handing off our photos that we loved to
Mhm.
designers who were doing them a disservice. And so then
Mhm.
Kate was like, I just feel like we could move into branding in this way. And so then we
Mhm.
started combining it, or we did website first. And then we were putting these photos on websites that we loved and we hated the branding. We're
Yeah.
like, these colors are wrong. Like,
Yeah.
why would they pick these colors? And then we're like, okay, well, let's keep going. So I think starting that way, where we were learning in segments of like what works and what doesn't,
Mhm.
really changed how we look at brands as a whole.
Mhm.
And I think that's really what got us to there.
I mean, when we started, we were both working for a wedding magazine. And so we were doing the photos and for advertisers. A lot of
Mhm.
it was styled shoots and for advertisers.
Mhm.
And so we really did think through like, hey, how is this going to translate? And then one day we were like, we can do this. You know, we really could do this
Yeah.
and we can do it well. And we love it. And we really look at it from the whole.
Mhm.
And so it is like, yeah, you have a product based business. Like Drew just said, we are showing you how this potential logo is going to look. We're not just, hey, here on a white backdrop is the
Mhm.
logo we're presenting. It's like, no,
Mhm.
here's how it's going to look in action.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like we just finished one that we're really excited about. And we were full blown doing tag design for what they're letting out. And I was like, yeah, this is the best part to me is like
Mhm.
seeing those brand pieces in action. It's not handing you a logo.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, are you using your color system correctly? Because like
Mhm.
that's what makes it exciting. And that's what makes these patterns pop is like making sure you're using it in the right way.
And we
Yeah.
also tell them how to use it. And so there's no confusion. Like,
Yeah.
here's how you use it and here's how you do not
Yeah.
use it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's so interesting to me, like, and making sure the messaging gets through all the way down to the tag, and that's so much detail that I think people don't even realize has to be thought through.
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we are in that space where we're like, hey, email us if you're not sure.
Yeah.
Like we will help you because we want
Right.
it. We feel just as invested most
Uh-huh.
of
Yeah.
the time as they do. And we're just like, yes, like we know how good this can look and like we want it to be
Mhm.
executed flawlessly for you. So
Mhm.
if you have any questions, like let us
Mhm.
know. Like we are there to help you. We don't just stop at the
Yeah.
deliverables, you know.
Like if we get a
That's great.
newsletter and from one of our clients who's mismatched their colors, I'm emailing them back to me and like, send me your login. Let me fix this. Like, what are you doing? This is crazy.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I love them like because
Yeah.
they're the best and they're doing the best.
Yeah. Well, and you want it to work. All the stuff that
Yes,
you put
yeah.
into it, you want it to make sense.
Mhm.
We wanted to do what they wanted it to do.
Mhm.
And that's like to make them an authority, to make it look good and make sure it's all the touch points throughout are doing that.
What about the messaging in general? So not a tag, not a box, not a tissue paper, but like the wording that you're putting out. Do you guys get involved in that too?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like how you're communicating verbally or in writing?
Yes. It depends how in depth they want to go, but for all of our brand clients, we give it like a brief messaging guide where
Mhm.
it's like, hey, here's who you're trying to reach. Here's how you should be saying it. And here are things you should not say.
Mhm.
Yeah. And in there, it's also like if you are ever in question about if this is going to work or not work, come back to these guidelines.
Mhm.
And if it kind of checks all the boxes, then like, yes, you're a go. If not, it might be outside of what you really want to be talking about or the message you want to get across.
Mhm. Do people respond to that with like some relief that okay, guidelines are great, like bumpers on a, bowling
Oh,
alley.
yeah.
Like it makes it a little safer. I feel like I would be like grateful for that, but I'd also like push it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's like sometimes you're going to, and like at the end of the day, it's like it's your business and you know
Mhm.
that like what you want to push and what you want to do. It
Mhm.
is exactly that. It's a guide rail, but if you want to take those off and like say
Mhm.
something, like you could do it and then see how it goes.
And it's a starting point too, so you don't feel so paralyzed when we give you all of your
Exactly.
beautiful assets to post, and then you're like, okay, what do I say? How do I caption this? It's just like I can go back to these messages, and then you get used to it. And you're like, all right, I feel very comfortable. I can expand a little bit here. I can try something new here. Because it isn't just like an end all be all, right? It's
Yeah.
like brands are ever evolving and changing. And sometimes people come to us with what they want to be in 5 years, and that changes. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people understand that like it might not be the thing you thought it was going to be, but like it probably will be better.
It rarely is what
It
you
rarely
think
is.
it's going to be.
Truly, like we started a brand photography business and
Uh-huh.
here we are talking
There
about
we are.
branding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This episode is supported by Salt and Charm, the business I built long before this podcast ever existed. We offer luxury private chef experiences, full service catering, and curated weekly meal prep delivery in Wilmington and surrounding areas. Salt and Charm is where I've learned the lessons I share here about resilience, leadership, growth, and building something that doesn't run your life. We believe hosting should feel joyful and everyday meals should feel intentional. If you're in Wilmington, Hampstead, Wrightsville Beach, or Brunswick County, we'd love to serve you. Visit us on Instagram at Salt and Charm and on our website at saltandcharm.co to learn more. And just for our listeners here on the podcast, get $10 off your next meal prep order by using code podcast at checkout. Every week, we feed hundreds of people at their dinner tables, and we would love to help make your week a little less stressful and a lot more delicious. How do you go through the process with a client? No, I mean, I know that y'all know that, okay, we're going to create this thing for you, but realistically, in a year, we need to revisit. We need to add to, we need to see how it's going and take away or adjust. And how do clients respond to that? Because they're hiring you for, a set thing, right? But then y'all know, like that needs to evolve.
Yeah.
So how do you keep an ongoing relationship with these clients so that you see the success in the evolution, I guess?
That's a great question. Most of our clients we've had since the beginning.
Yeah.
The ones that started with us, we still
Mhm.
retain them. And obviously we're always taking on new clients. But I will say it's usually part of the conversation. Like it's kind of in the plan. It's like we hand
Mhm.
off all of their messaging guides, their social assets, all of that. And then we're saying, all right, like when you're ready, here's what the next step is. So there is a mapped out plan
Okay.
kind of in
Yeah.
advance. And then they're like, all right, I'm ready, but like, let's change XYZ. And then we kind of go from there. And most people are pretty thankful because they just want to do their job in their business.
Mhm.
They don't want to have to think about all of their branding and brand materials. So it's like, all right, I've reached this point where I knew I was going to be, and like now I'm ready to do this thing. And they
Mhm.
kind of we take it from there usually.
I think we
Mhm.
just like leave that door open. We're typically like interacting with them on social
Yeah.
media or through email, newsletters. So it's like it's very rare that we don't know what someone's working on or doing.
Or we
Mhm.
see them out
And
and
we
we're
see
like,
them
oh my
out.
gosh, I've been meaning to email you.
Yeah.
They're like, we've got to do this, this, and this.
Yeah,
So
Right.
I got a text this morning from one of our clients who was like, hey, I still love my branding. I still love my colors, but I'm thinking about changing my name because now that I'm in the business, I'm attracting this kind of client because of this. And I'm realizing I want to pivot it. And so then
Mhm.
we had a conversation this morning. It's like, okay, well, like we can do like a rebrand, keep like all the stuff that you love and pivot the name. And now we're like,
Mhm.
we're checking domain titles this morning and like pivoting her
Mhm.
over. But she was just like, yeah, she's like, I still want to do exactly this, but just make a broader reach
Yeah.
than what I initially thought.
Yeah.
So it's like, little things like that happen all the
Mhm.
time.
Well, that's not a little thing. That's a big thing
Yeah.
to like have like the faith in yourself and your brand and your business to be able to make that kind of pivot.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And to have a resource like you guys to help do that. I mean, I'm convinced that no business ends up exactly where you think it's going to
There's
be.
no way it could.
Everything evolves. I started as a food blog and here I am, whatever Salt and Charm is now.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, it takes on a life of its own and you figure out what people need and what they want and what you want to do. And then you adjust. And if you don't, you die.
What do you think the biggest adjustment you've made in your brand is?
I mean, just the services that we offer.
Yeah.
I mean, I said no to weddings for years, like probably 3 years. And then I looked and saw how many things we were saying no to. And I was
Yeah.
like, well,
Well,
guess we're going to
here
do
we go.
weddings.
Yep.
But, and we kind of have settled into a very specific space in weddings and events. And that's what people know us for. But we constantly get asked to do other things outside, or like something that is not really worth the time and effort. And then we just try to stick to here's our lane, here's what we do. But yeah, I mean, I started off as a food blog, and then I just kind of like started taking on things that people were needing and wanting from us. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Not the like the foundation and the nature of who we are, but how we present it, how we communicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Even
a lot of
in
sense.
it doesn't feel like a big pivot at the time.
Mhm.
It's just a slow burn. And then all of a sudden
Mhm.
you look back 10 years ago and it's a completely different
Thing.
Mhm. For sure. And I remember when we opened Starling, it was similar. We had an idea of what Starling would be. It was going to be a whiskey and wine bar, right? Like a high-end whiskey and wine. Well, it's not that. I mean, we have whiskey and wine, but that's not what the bar is. And so, we had to kind of let go of a little bit of what we thought it was going to be and embrace what it ended up being. So, anyway, it's a ride.
It is
It's a ride, and you cannot hold tightly to anything,
It's so
No.
true.
really,
Yeah.
except who you are as a person. Like,
Yes. Yes.
everything else is up for debate.
And we foundationally feel great about that.
Yes, we do. We've never felt bad about that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I mean, it comes through, and I will say that everything you're saying about how you approach branding for clients like comes through in how you handle yourselves and your own business. It is very evident, and you guys practice what you preach for sure.
Thanks.
And I love that.
We put a lot of work into it.
Mm-hmm.
Kate and I are also same birth order, same sibling order, same like
Mm-hmm.
star sign. We're born like a week apart. And so like we
Mhm.
have always been very similar about things like that. And when we started our business, we did couples therapy to
Amazing.
be able to navigate owning a business together and like what that would mean and how we're communicating with each other. And I think it really like set us up in a big way to be able to like talk to each other and be open and all of those other things.
I
That's
think
amazing.
that was a great thing. I think that was probably the thing we were most thankful we did from the upfront.
100%.
We were just like, let's do it. I had
Yeah.
never even been to therapy before, so I had no idea what to
Uh-huh.
expect. But we are so similar, but we also are so different in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, and how we talk to each other and how we communicate, how we get our point across is so different, how we react. So
Mhm.
really learning each other and learning how to do
Mhm.
that was
Yeah.
the best thing we could have done for our friendship and
Mhm.
bringing that into a business partnership.
Yeah. Do you have really clear distribution of responsibilities too, so that there's not like weirdness and gray areas about who's doing what?
Yeah, most of the time I would say that's true. There's times where like we patch in, but I would say we typically know who's in charge of what and who's doing what, who's responding to the emails and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
we do like a little internal, you will get an email from both that says it's from both of us, but we definitely have an internal split of like who I'm emailing versus who Kate's emailing, like
Mhm.
for project update.
But it
Mhm.
always comes from both of us.
That's great. I love that y'all went to couples therapy.
It was the best time of our life. Like,
I love
I
that.
think our therapist loved us too.
oh, she was so happy we were in there not fighting.
We're going to send her this podcast.
Yeah, we actually
She's
should.
going to love it.
That's awesome.
My sister did it with her business. My sister lives in California and she did it with her business partner. And she was like, I know, like, you probably don't need this or anything like that. She was like, but we had a great time and it really helped us in our business. Like, I
Mhm.
think you and Kate should consider doing it. And I mean, we had probably owned the business for 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was immediate.
So, how did you find the right therapist for that? Did you go to like a marriage therapist or a
Yes, yeah.
relationship therapist?
I
Yeah.
think we were her first.
So great.
not married couple.
This is a new whole new business idea.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like
not
therapy for business
Yes,
partners. I think
yes.
Yeah.
that's amazing.
We share a bank account and we share the majority of our time together. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
Mhm. It's like a marriage.
yeah, I mean, it
Mhm.
really is. Like, I'm married to Kate for sure most of the time. Like, where I'm just like, I
Mhm.
consider her in everything I'm doing. Like, if I'm making
Yeah.
travel plans or if I'm doing anything, it's like, okay, well, what does Kate have going on? Like, like it's like a big part of our life. And so,
Calendars are synced.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's-
mean, it's like she knows what's going on in my personal
I know where
life
Kate's kids are at all times.
all times. Yeah. She's on their school pickup list.
I've picked them
That's
up.
amazing.
But
Yeah.
it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it seems so silly. And it's like, yeah, like telling people we went to marriage therapy, but I'm like, no, like this is probably one of the most significant relationships either one of us will ever have.
Well, there's so much at stake, right?
it's-
This is your
It's our livelihood.
it's your livelihood. It's what's supporting everything. So the fact that you put that much weight into making it good and healthy and right is so. I mean, biggest piece of advice out of this podcast, if you have a business partner, I'm gonna
Yes.
call Matt right now. We're going to
Yes.
therapy.
Go to therapy with your
Yeah.
business partner.
We mean it. And like, it is so worth it. It's like the first things we did was we did that and we got a lawyer. And because it's like,
Mhm.
I would rather do both of those things foundationally before we have a problem, which is what they tell you.
Yes.
They're like, get a lawyer. Yeah. At the beginning of your business, let them draw up your contracts, let them figure that out.
Mhm.
Because if you ever do need them, it's better to have a relationship with them.
Mhm.
Same thing. It's like Kate and I do not fight, but it's like, hey,
Mhm.
like, this is a big thing and we want this to be a real thing. So like we need to take this seriously.
I love that. I love
And we
that.
learned how to communicate before we got to the fight, which I
Mhm.
think was the biggest thing we took away. It was like, hey,
Mhm.
here's what's going on. You know what I mean? And I think the other thing is we are best friends. So if something is coming up in our personal lives, we likely know why we're acting a certain way or doing something. It's like, oh, yes, well, I know she's got this going on. And I think that's a big piece of the puzzle too when we are such good friends.
Yeah.
I love that. I had a family law attorney on recently to talk about what divorce can do to a business, and we talked a lot about getting your ducks in a row and knowing the information, having things in place while there's not conflict, while there's calmness, while you still love each other, so that when conflict comes up, which it will, you have a plan in place and there's not like fear involved and like, well, I don't know what to do. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So I love that. And it just kind of goes across the board. If you're in a business relationship with somebody, even like if you have a very close staff, which I do. I mean, I'm with my staff more than I'm with my kids most weeks. Right. And so learning how to navigate those relationships can get messy, right? Because you love them, or you're friends, you're working on this thing together, and then when things get weird, which they will,
Oh, yeah.
how are you going to handle it? And you can't just walk away from each other and like say screw you. You got to have a plan.
And you have to like learn how to take like your feelings out of it and
Mhm.
like, okay, well, if I strip
Yeah.
it down to this, what does that mean?
That's such a healthy way to do things. Look at y'all. That's amazing.
Yeah, we were
We're
working.
really proud of it.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
proud of ourselves.
You should be. You should be. That
Yeah.
is, most people don't put that much thought into how they're going to structure their business and their relationship with each other. So that's amazing.
I was like, I can't ever imagine like not being your friend. And
Mhm.
anything I can do to safeguard that, I'm going to want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like where we went into it with.
And we wanted this to be our career. Like we really did want this to be our jobs for our whole lives. And it
Mhm.
was so important that in all the seasons of like change and growth that our friendship came first and that we were able to take out the emotion if something were going to happen, that we knew how to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that was a huge takeaway from just like learning how to communicate.
I mean, even I'm thinking back to it, it's like we knew back then, like Kate wanted to have a third baby. And so we were talking about like what we would do
Mm-hmm.
And
when Kate had a
therapy.
baby. And now that
Yeah.
baby's 4 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
we were like planning about that 2
Yeah.
to 3 years out. And like that's the thing. It's like when I'm talking about like, oh yeah, like this is a serious relationship. It's like, yeah, I need to know when Kate wants to have a baby. Like, but normally you
Mhm.
don't care about that with your friends. You're just like excited and hanging out with it. But it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, for these weeks, like I'm gonna be alone in the office and that so I need to pace my projects in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And like talking through that with like the therapist and figuring all that out was great.
Do you guys still go to therapy together, or was it like a?
We haven't gone
We
in
haven't gone in a
couple
long time.
years. Yeah. But we probably went for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we honestly haven't had any issues arise.
Yeah. And we were paying out of pocket. We had to get out of there.
Girl, yeah, we
Well,
don't have
I mean,
insurance for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Our favorite therapist doesn't take insurance.
Well, I mean, once you set up the foundation, as long as you can sustain that, then
Yeah. Mhm.
set up all your contracts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
set up how you're going to treat each other, and then
Let it
that's
roll.
how it's your SOP for business partnership.
Expense up front, but I am so
Mhm.
glad we made it, especially with the
Mhm.
lawyer and drawing up our contracts and
Mhm.
safeguarding that part of our business
Mm-hmm.
because, we were listening to other business owners that came before us. And it was like, hey, have a good contract. You don't want to
Mhm.
get sued. Like, make sure you're doing XYZ. And it was like, okay, if we can take away one thing, it's that we are gonna pay to have this thing drafted up. And
Yeah. Those things are scary, but like the big components of business, your financials, your legal, your operating agreements, all of those things spend them. I know it's hard to do in the beginning when you don't have any money.
We didn't want to spend that money at all.
No,
We
and
hated writing
sometimes
that
you
check
don't
for the
have
lawyer.
it, but
Yeah.
like it's so important if you're right, if you want this to be a long-term lifetime thing, set it up right in the beginning and it will save you money. It's either you invest it now or you invest it later in fixing the mistakes that you've made.
Yeah. And we had to have like an
Mhm.
intellectual property lawyer because like
Yeah.
we're doing design. And so like all of that was like way over our head in the beginning. Like we're like,
Mhm.
okay, well, like, how does this work? So it's like, we had to like really get into it
yeah,
pretty quickly.
I don't think we would ever trust that still to like an AI model.
Mhm.
No.
It's like go to see a real lawyer and
Yeah.
have them draw it up for you.
100%. I mean, you can use AI for like some initial information,
Sure.
but then you need
Yeah.
a human who's like putting
A
their stamp
human.
on it
100%.
for sure.
Mhm.
I think that's so cool that y'all did that.
It was a wild
love it.
time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But it sets you up for like a peaceful life.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I
it
love
did.
that.
Mhm.
I love that. Where can people find you?
On the internet, they can find us
Mhm.
at Drewe and Kate, and Drewe has an E on it.
On the end.
Mhm.
And then our Substack is Notes from Studio. Anywhere you type Drewe and Kate, probably
You'll
will
come
find
up.
us.
If you
Mhm.
Google it, we'll be there.
Which coffee shops can people find you in mostly?
Bespoke.
Bespoke.
Bespoke. Mhm.
Bespoke, Drift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Downtown. We're always downtown. Our office is
Yeah, our
downtown.
office is pretty close to Bespoke, so we're always there.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank y'all so much. I love
Thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
thanks for having us.
Yeah.
This was so
I
fun.
mean, this makes me want to like let y'all help me.
Girl, we
Yes,
would.
girl. We're here when
We'd
you're
love
ready.
to.
I know y'all are awesome and I love your work and I've had like we talked about in the beginning, I've had some of your people on and
Yeah.
they rave about you and
We get the best people.
yeah. Oh, and I love the story of Sid getting an Architectural Digest and you guys getting to shoot that. Like
We
how
screamed.
You should have
cool.
seen us scream when she
I
emailed
bet
us
you
about
did.
it. Yes. She emailed us and she was like, I don't know if this is real. And we were like, we don't know if this is real.
The way she thought it was a scam was so
So it
funny.
was so funny. And then we were like,
Mhm.
and then we didn't believe it. Like we took those pictures. They sent us the thing and they were like, hey, you get a badge that says your work's been featured in Architectural Digest. Still didn't believe them. And I was like, okay, sure. And then I go to the mailbox one day and I get the magazine out and I'm flipping. And then I had seen the proof and I saw someone else's work with the same font. And I was like, it's going to be here. And I turned the page and it was in the magazine.
So
It was really cool. And Sydney is one of those clients where we're like, if you like Sydney's branding, you are a perfect fit for us. Like
Mhm.
she is a dream to work with. And like watching all of the things that she has done since we worked with her has been
Mhm.
incredible. She's so talented.
Every
Yeah.
client that Sid has referred us to, I think, has been our dream.
100%.
I mean, truly.
Well, and she said to me that y'all were one of the best investments she made, just getting clarity on
Oh yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
putting out there and who you are and how you're selling your work is so important. So important.
Yeah. She sends us emails and texts that make us cry. Like she is like
Aw.
the nicest. We
Love
loved working
that.
with her.
She's so talented too. We have a
Yeah.
huge painting in our office.
Yeah. If you ever come to our office, we
Yeah.
have a city work that's like as big as a wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so good.
Well, nice work, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
for
us.
Y'all are
us.
awesome. Thanks for joining me on Business from Scratch. Follow the show for more honest conversations about building a business that works for you.